Welcome to Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness. I'm Darren. Hello, it's me, Darren. Welcome to show number 7. This show number 7 of Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness. Searching for it. That's what we're going to be doing. So my co-pilot in this journey of madness is going to be a guy I used to know, again, a long time ago, who also lives in L.A., that's most 95% of the people I've talked to have been, I haven't known them seen them, heard from them for years, and they live in LA. So this is the fourth person who's like that I'm talking to. And Scott, me and him, we were close in the late 90s. Like, we were tight. We were sleeping together, me and him. We were roommates. We were sleeping together in the same place that we paid rent to. Technically, though, that's, sleeping together. I guess he would have a different time. Yeah, sometimes he would sleep. He would go to bed later than me, and usually I would go to bed later than him. So, yeah, I guess there were certain hours that we slept together, but not every hour. Some crossover hours, like 3, 4, and 5 a.m. probably were our crossover hours. I would probably be up by 5:30 or 6. I'm just an early morning guy. It's weird. It's hard to be a comedian out there and be an early morning guy, because the one thing about comedy is when you do it on the road, it lights you up and your brains are lit, right? And it's kind of like what's going on right now when I do this stuff. But your brains are lit, you got your material, you know it, and you're going up there, and if you kill, the energy, you just absorb it from the audience. Laughter just it sucks into you, and you're like, whoa, I'm all floaty and, ego-filled, and let's have a drink and lower my inhibitions more, or whatever. And so you wouldn't want to go to bed. So anyways, Scott, roommates, we had tension. There was some unleft business. I haven't spoken with him, god dang, 20 plus years. But so this is going to be a conversation of two roommates talking. I hope you don't mind the reminiscing, but hey, join the fun. I don't know what's going to be said, but Scott, we were close in proximity. And we'll see if this phone call can reveal where our heads were at while we were close in proximity. But mentally, I wasn't the one who put all those dishes in there, so I'm not doing the dishes because I didn't do that. And I think he came from the other side and said, Darren put a dish in there, and I am not doing all those dishes. So maybe we'll straighten that out. It's silly. We had tension. We're going to talk to him about it.
I love the suit. You look fantastic.
Good, man. I wore a white tie coming in truce, like I come in peace.
Yeah. Yes, I'm wearing red to show my fury and
right.
anger.
Well, we were so close at one point that we were emotionally we made each other angry, we made each other happy, so we were emotionally connected in some ways, we were
like brothers.
We were, in a way, yeah. We're like brothers that were adopted, though, and we'd it's not really your mom, and you were kind of, you know what I mean? We got adopted, and then now we got a place.
Yeah, I think that the height difference made it clear that
right.
we weren't biological siblings.
Oh, no, definitely. But, yeah, there was, so let's talk about, oh, man, okay. So you don't mind because this show, let's go back, because we do have this crazy history, and I want to see things from your side a little bit. I'm sure you know my side, but.
Yeah, I'd be happy to say things. I'm totally happy with that. I'm going to just make the blanket statement
go ahead.
Saying that I have grown as a human being since then.
Dude, no. Yeah, this is Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness, and I know you have the wisdom. I mean, I can tell in your hair there's all the wisdom right up there.
Yeah,
you've gotten very wise. Your hair was not that color.
Yours too.
Right.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Like,
So wise I lost it all.
yes, it's like a Buddhist thing.
Yeah, you
Like,
knew me with hair.
you don't need possessions anymore. You
Right.
can let it all go. So
Exactly.
you're self-actualized. You've like reached a plane that I may never obtain.
I came to a realization, and that realization was born out of both Michael Jordan and Mike Lucas, and a little bit of Scott Lewis, if you'll remember that guy.
I don't remember Scott.
Scott Lewis was one of those kind of tough guy comic friends who would,
Okay.
fucking, just hassle you like a true big brother or something, like
Yeah.
you pussy, that kind of crap.
I
Like,
totally
dude,
got
stop
you.
it. So, anyways, yeah. So in May of 2000, I haven't looked back. I just
Yeah. Oh, okay. So shortly after I moved to Los Angeles, we both made these major life changes because I moved like January of 2000.
right. So if you moved, did you basically you moved somewhere after you were living with me, and then you moved, right? Or did you move directly from me and you to?
I bounced around a little bit. I didn't really get a permanent place. I stayed with a friend, and I stayed in this crazy like uh, almost like a hostel kind of place in the near west side of the city. Just and it was crazy, like a shared bathroom, room, dormitory with a bunch of like alcoholics and drug
Whoa,
addicts. It was a crazy place, and I lived there for like a month and a half or
really?
so. Yeah. And then I lived with a friend for a little bit because I knew I was gonna go to Los Angeles, so I didn't like want to sign a lease or anything. So I just found temporary places.
That place that you were at with that what you've just described, like for me, is kind of a hell, kind of a prison slash hell in my mind, because the 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 one thing that when you're sleeping is at least you can trust. So the one
Yeah.
thing that you and I had together that was a true thing that was one of the most important things is we basically could trust that the other one wasn't going to be bringing a bunch of people and doing heroin in the living room, and then
Yes.
we've decided to get a gun and shoot out the window because Fourth of July is coming up, or you know what I mean. I'm
Yes.
not
Nothing too
not
bonkers. Yes.
sleepwalking and all of a sudden you're naked above me and you're urinating on my face because you're and then you go back to bed and you're like sending me a message through your sleep.
Yeah.
There was nothing. In other words, I didn't have to put a lock on my door and like go
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
So
I in Los Angeles, I lived with my brother and this other guy who there wasn't the trust with that other guy.
oh
Like
no.
apparently there was a situation where the other guy was looking through the keyhole, masturbating while looking at my brother.
Oh no.
Yeah, we never ran into that
Oh
stuff that I know
no.
of.
How did
Yeah.
wait. Did you read a journal or did you set up a camera and see this, or did you get it out of my
That's a
drunken?
good question. I'm totally trusting my brother on this. He said that he was a witness to it, so I'm going along and believing him. But it could have been a dream. It could have been all sorts of things. But I'm going to just
Yes.
go with it because it's
All right.
it's a fun story and it felt organic to what we were talking
So the
about
way we'll
before.
rate this story is it's biblical. You can either believe
It's totally
it or
biblical.
not.
It's
Yeah.
completely biblical, and it fits with like what's going on in our times.
Yeah, it could have
Half the country's gonna believe it, and half the country's gonna think it's fake news. It's totally cool.
Oh man. So then, if you're living with an untrustworthy person, how does it end? Were you guys the instigators of like, hey, you need to get out? Or was it his natural F-uppedness that kicked his own ass out?
It ended really, really strange, where this guy actually tried to make me choose between him and my brother.
Whoa.
It was like, well, why don't we just live together? And it was really strange. And I ended up I think my brother ended up moving in with a girlfriend, and I
Right.
ended up getting my own place.
So when he broached that, when he decided to say that, what was it about? What did he have to offer that he could get a literal brother? Or in other words, what did he see in you that thought you were vulnerable enough to give up your bro and live with this guy as if he had some kind of special thing? What was he going to pay extra for the first month or something? What was he going to?
I don't know exactly, but the one thing that I loved about him was he worked at PF Chang's.
Okay.
And every night I would go to PF Chang's and be able to just invent things there. Like I would just say to him, like, give me this chicken with this sauce and this vegetable, and I would just invent things. And because he worked there, he could get the cook to do anything.
Right.
And that was the best part of having him in my life. Was having my own PF Chang's menu.
All right. Well,
but that wasn't enough to make me choose him over my brother.
All right. Well, let me judge this one. That is pretty high. It's a pretty high thing, but even though if you're having tension with your brother and you know your brother and dang it, why is he here? You know, or whatever it is. Was this guy high? Was it that what it was also? Was he just like high as shit?
He was a complete and total alcoholic.
So he's coming at you drunk.
Hey,
just get rid of your brother. What
Yeah.
are you talking about? You know, me and you get together.
Yeah, and he had a fake name. He wasn't like he had a pretend name. Like I don't want to use. I was going to use an example, but I'm going to choose not to.
Yeah.
But it was like he had a stage name, but for life, and it was a weird.
So it was like
name.
he had like was it Cher or something, but a male version of that?
It was more like
Mendoza.
fate prodigy kind of thing. Like it was like how he viewed himself or the person that he wanted to be.
So he like walked around like he was in 9 Inch Nails or something? Like he was a band member?
I think he walked around like he was in complete denial of his past. I think is like he didn't have any sort of ego or anything like that where it was like I'm this godlike person, but I think that he felt like he was on a different spiritual plane, if that makes sense. But the thing about him that I thought was awesome was he claimed to be a mathematical savant. And so like he was the kind of person that you'd say, when were you born? Well, I was born on October 20th, 1972. And he'd be like, that was a Wednesday. And like he'd be like be awesome with numbers. But then I thought later on, he could just say a day of the week and everyone would be like, oh, that's cool, because no one's really checking. Like, who's going to, like, you do it. Just do it.
Right.
Tell me, when were you born?
I was born on January 8th, 1965.
Oh, that was a Saturday.
It was a Saturday. You guessed right.
Isn't that fantastic? And so it's totally possible that he did that. But back then, I thought he was like this mathematical savant genius.
Oh, he was using mind magic on you.
Yeah, maybe. And he was, I'm sure, on the spectrum in some level.
Did he kind of hypnotize you a little bit with the food and?
I don't know. I was probably much easier influenced and bendable back then.
Right.
It's very
You're
possible.
willing to tolerate quite a bit. I can see you with the toleration. So the one incident we had, one kitchen incident, was the dishes incident, and I think the dishes went unwashed for maybe.
Oh, did we have a dish protest?
Was it about 2 weeks?
Really? It was like
it to the
you're
point
not
where?
go
Yeah, it was a point where we were having to buy disposable things. And then nobody's taking out the garbage. You're like, fuck, this is getting out of control.
Really? We had a sit-in? We were like nonviolent protesting?
It was a couple of weeks and I broke. You broke me.
Oh my God,
I remember
I'm
coming up to
ashamed.
you and finally talking about it. I just thought that the pile up would be so noticeable that you would have said or done something. Because from my perspective, it was a situation where I had all the dishes were not there. Then there was a bunch of dishes there. There were maybe two dishes. I don't know, but there were some dishes there, and I was like, "Well, I'm not doing that." And so I did, And then I'd have one cup, and I put it off to the side, and then I would come back, and then there was some more dishes there, and then I'm like, "Oh, really?" No, I'm definitely. And so then subconsciously, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to do more. I'm going to actually eat on more plates, and then I'll put my stuff in there. And then next thing you know, then the whole thing was within like a few days. The thing was just like all our plates were gone, all silverware was gone, no more cups. There was that. Had to scrounge like around for something to drink out of. We were drinking out of boots or something.
Oh God!
I'm going far. And then
I'm gonna apologize for that. I was probably a dick there. And what's nowadays I will literally do a dish immediately after using it, and I like don't let it pile up because I hate when that piles up. So it might have been like a thing where it's just like I had an aversion to it, but now I at least act proactively. But yeah,
we were in a kind of a marriage in a way, so you would have to know what you do. So let's just examine the dishes thing. All right.
Yes.
It was all an ego / dominance / power game, basically. It was like, or it was an awareness game. Now I could have given you the thing like, we had basically done our dishes and kept them at a relative pace, but there was at one point where there was just maybe one dish too many there, and then I didn't do my part because I'm like, and then. You did, and I didn't know whether you just didn't, because I thought you were pretty oblivious. I felt at times, like you know what I mean, like above or just not really connected emotionally, like what I'm talking about. And you're like, yeah, whatever, so kind of blowing it off. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, did he hear me? Does he understand what I'm saying? Because he does sometimes not remember that, so I don't know. And so it was like a weird dynamic going on.
I'm gonna say that it's possible that I was in my own little narcissistic universe, but I would also say just as easily I was being a martyr. I would guess I was being a martyr and like, fuck it, I'm going to like I would rather suffer than give in and being like a stubborn prick, I would guess.
Right.
But it is possible that I was like thinking I was better than it. That's possible too. I don't know for sure. All I know is that I think it's hilarious, and I think that this is a good thing to just say that like in any sort of relationship, communication's important, and we were clearly not communicating, and it was only causing an issue and a problem.
That's why I want to have fun with this. So we'll do some Imagineering, as if we're in a time machine.
Oh, you've
we're gonna
prepared. You've got stuff.
Well, not prepared, but we're gonna imagine it right now. So we're gonna improv right off the moment. I'll just fill you in. The last detail was that once again the dishes just got piled out of like too much.
Yes.
And there was a point where that tension wasn't being talked about. We weren't talking about the dishes for those 4 or 5 days that they were piling up, but there were angrier scowls or more lookaways or closed doors and whatever.
Sure.
So we were kind of like breaking up in a weird way. And then finally it got to the point, and in my mind, I think I said some shit finally. And then you gave me back, all I can remember emotionally is you gave me a stern argument of things that I was guilty of that I could not deny. And I did feel guilty about that. And so ultimately I believe that, it was a thing. And then I think it was kind of a breakthrough moment for us a little bit, though, because it never happened afterwards. And there was I think there was niceties done in a subconscious way for a little while after that. There was this kind of a letdown, like, okay, but we had an understanding.
But it was never the same really after that?
It's never been the same before that, honestly. We were kind of odd couple going
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
game. You're from a whole other culture mentally, and you have a
Yeah.
discipline. I come from ADHD, which I found out just 5 years ago that I have it.
Okay.
I come from lifelong ADHD with neglectful parents who gave me no kind of cultural. I got bullied, so I didn't hang around people. So I didn't have like this any kind of focus. I was very all over the place.
We're more similar than you wanna than not than you wanna,
Oh
but
yeah.
we're similar, like similar backgrounds.
Oh, so you had
Parents
kind of a
without giving
loner?
me any, totally bullied, no cultural knowledge, background, awareness, anything like that. And
Right.
so it's possible that some of the stuff was projection, that I don't like in you what I don't like about myself. Some of that could have been what
There is
was
a
happening.
quality I really liked in you that I did not have in myself, and that was self-control.
Okay.
And specifically with money, because money was a very essential time. That during that time was some of the broke months that I ever had in my life, where I
Yeah.
used all my coin jars. I took it down to the Dominick's and put it in the change machine. Like, oh shit, I got $14. Yes, yes, that's another week I live. you know,
I think that that's a fault to some extent, but I am good with money, but
right? You're frugal.
which came in handy for being starving comics and stuff
Yes.
like that, because
Mm-hmm.
I was able to live off of just like house MC work and stuff like that
Right.
because of the way with which I handled money, so I could
Right.
focus on my career. But I missed out on a lot of life because of that. So I kind of wonder, what the
Well,
balance is.
but I will say that you just said the key word there. You were out of balance on that end. So you had
Yeah.
it to a fault where that was frustrating for me at times because I am the opposite, like
Sure.
I'm chaos.
Yeah.
So even with money, I'm chaos with it. I get it. So let's eat or whatever. I
Yeah.
want to play
Yeah.
a game. So
So I was like, remember those stories about Bob Odenkirk, where he would say things like people would be out and he's like, no, I'm gonna just go home and write. I'm gonna just go focus on writing, and so he wouldn't like hang out with people.
oh
Uh, well, that's I had heard that. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'd
no,
heard
it's
that story
great.
about him.
I love it.
But he had that discipline, but I didn't have that discipline. Like I think we all worked to some extent, and I worked hard back
You
then. But
did.
I had that discipline to, like, it's not worth getting a beer or doing something like that at this point in time, or going on a vacation, or any of those kinds of things where it's like, if I can just focus everything on this, I don't need any sort of like triviality. But
Right.
again, I think that was erring on the side too much of being too conservative, and where I probably would have, like, I remember there was a comic who got a big development deal after the Chicago Comedy Festival.
Oh,
He
few of them probably did.
Yeah, but this one in particular
Was it
took
fluffy?
all. No, it was. He had a joke. Are we? Can we be dirty? Like, is there any language?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, he had a joke that was, which base is fisting. Do you remember that guy?
Repeat that again.
Which base is fisting?
Which base is
Like, first base is kissing, second base is touching breasts.
Okay.
What base
Sorry,
is
man.
fisting?
I apologize for being so out of it. Baseball.
No, it's good. It's good
Right.
not in today's day and age
No,
to
right.
have no idea what that joke means.
But I should have. Right. I thought it was a riddle or something. Which
Yeah.
base is fisting? It's an army base.
But whatever, Dave Stebbins, that was his name.
Oh, okay. I don't remember him at all.
Okay, well, so he got a bunch of money up on a development deal, and then he would just buy everybody drinks all the time ever. And then he was like, well, if I put it out in the universe, it'll come back to me.
Oh no.
And
He was living like MC Hammer, bro.
he was totally living like MC Hammer, and
Oh,
then
no.
I think it all eventually went away.
Of
But
course.
I was always the complete and total opposite of that. But but to a somewhat selfish fault, and that's something that I'd like to get more out of and be
Understood.
less like.
But I would
But
say
yes, that was
in life
aspect.
right now, in this moment of COVID and being home and not people aren't working and people aren't doing the same
Yeah,
business and everybody having to figure out new things.
yeah,
If I know you, you're like, okay, I can ride it out for a while.
yeah, yeah.
And that's
My
where
life hasn't
this
been.
is where that thing comes in. You've cashed your lottery ticket. And
Yeah,
yay! Look at me,
yeah, yeah.
lottery. This was what I was
Yes,
working for all my
this.
life. I opened all those chocolates, and finally, I got the golden ticket.
Yeah, yeah. My whole life prepared me for COVID.
Yeah.
It's like my life was Slumdog Millionaire,
Yeah.
but it's like COVID like survival list. That's what like all of my life
Oh.
experiences have prepared me for this pandemic, being locked in, shut down. It's like I know what to do now.
Yeah,
I
you're
totally know what to
shining.
do. Yeah. And I can cook anything now.
Oh, man, look at this.
Travel the world in my kitchen.
Oh my God, dude! I did not realize that is. Wow. See, that's why it was good to be fundamental all those years, because it gets you to this place. If you
Yeah.
were too loose, but it is all about the balance, though. We find that balance in it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when
And sorry, I want to go back and really quickly. I want to apologize because that's something I do, and it's a shitty thing to do.
What?
Is keeping lists of things in the past? You said
Oh,
that
oh,
I went and
oh.
like said you did this and this and this, and whether it was
Right.
right or wrong or whatever, it's not a cool thing to do. And it would have
True.
been better if in the moments that there was something that was annoying, rather than holding on to it to wait to give a barrage, to be able to say, hey, this one time, like, so nothing built. And I apologize for that, because that's a crappy thing to do.
So here's what we
so-
do. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's just set this level straight. We are two totally different people right now. From
yeah, sure,
Whoever
but
was back
still.
20. It's been over 20 years. Yes, it's within us, but we are on a whole different level of intelligence, we'll say. This is where
Yes.
we've evolved right in here. Okay.
Yes. And so you have kids.
I have a kid, one kid.
Oh wow, how
Yeah.
old?
She's 15 now.
Oh wow, that's awesome. What's her name?
Arwen.
Arwen. That's a beautiful name.
Yeah, well, she was born in 2004, and it was, Lord of the Rings was the third one. And went to the hospital, and I had that big book with me, and we just looked in the back, and, oh, yeah,
That makes sense.
we'll change the E to a Y, and, that'll be her difference, and,
It's very pretty.
yeah, good old Arwen.
Yeah. What's her aptitudes? What does she love? Is she funny?
Okay, so, right. So right now she's at 15, so there's that big change in her life. So she's having now these hormonal changes, and so her personality is shifting. Plus the added thing of the amount of basically the whole internet phenomena is like shiny, bright things in her mind where everything is so superficial, like the superficialist.
Okay.
And so then any kind of deep reasoning does not really get through. Any kind of like, hey, a goal, or there's this result. If you start here with hard work, you get to there. There's none of that kind of thinking. It's like, what makeup can I put on it? What different thing, what clothes can make it look, this certain way. So there's that. It's so superficial right now, and there's really no. It's like, oh no, I'm at the point where they say that there's a point in a parent's life where they look at their kid and they go, I have no hope for the future. I just don't know what you're gonna do. I can't imagine what kind of life you're gonna have, because you're clearly. You got to clean your room at least once, something like that. She's in this whole other world, so it's a tough thing for me, especially also because she's got the same. unfortunately passed down my ADHD brains to her, so she has an element of that too. And one of the things I noticed with my ADHD, when I realized that I had it with the doctor and taking a test and all that shit, but real, and especially, I was a teacher and shit, and I should have known, but self-denial, what are you gonna do? Anyways, I realized like all the people that I knew in my life, I had, if they had ADHD, they were like, those magnets where you put their north and north together and they push each other away.
Yes,
I'm like
yes.
that with another person with ADHD, like, oh no, I want to do this thing, but what if we do this and this? And I'm like, no, get away from me. So I didn't take too much. So the one thing I know about you is me and you as roommates is that you did not have ADHD. That was something you didn't have. So there was a calmness to the waters to you.
Okay.
There you had this deep, calm waters. Whereas I was riding high on emotion or the flash moment or something. Like, let's go. Come on. The only time I was able to trick you to do something you didn't really want was I think I got a gig and I was able to get enough power to get you to be booked at a place like in Indiana. And it was all in the ploy to want to also drive your car to Indiana because I loved your Acura. You had basically a race car, but you were driving it as if it was like a Prius. You know what I mean? Like
it was a Saturn, actually.
Was it a Saturn? No, before
Saturn?
that. The one before that.
Honda Prelude. It was a Prelude,
right? Prelude before they turned into Acuras.
That was a nice car.
It was basically an
nice
Acura,
car.
though. If it was ever going to be said, this is our sports car of the Honda. So you had this Honda sports car.
I did love that car, yes.
And I think I remember getting that gig, being able to have enough power and thinking I could go with you down there to, both make you happy. So the balance was like, it's a cool thing. You'd love to do it. And there's other people and you could get booked there later. So that's one thing.
Sure.
So it's a gig. So that's always positive. But the ulterior motive was also, can I drive your car all the way down? You're so nice. You let me because I gave you the gig.
That's a fine trade-off for me because I don't mind not driving.
Well, I know I blew it with that though. I'll just have to say after that had happened, after I drove there and back, I knew it. I knew it was going to be, and you felt used by me, and in a way, I did feel I used you in some way, just because we used your car. We could have took my car. It was my gig thing that I was getting paid for it, and you weren't, or something. But yeah, it was. If I had to do it all over again, I would not have done it because it kind of also soured our relationship in a certain way. So then all of a sudden, I think there was I overtipped the balance on using you for this big long ride. We were paying for gas going down there and stuff. And so I think that there became that, and that was like halfway in.
Okay.
Because when did we move in together? What year? Do you remember?
Okay, let's do the math. It would have been.
Can you tell me what day?
90. Would have been 96.
Wow.
Was it 96 to 99?
We lived together for 3 years.
I think something.
Is
like
that true?
I think so. Because Josh lived there for a bit. Kevin Rogers lived there for a bit. Because we had remember that little den room?
Yeah.
And certain people lived there for a while. I think that
Kevin Rogers was living with us?
Yeah, for a bit.
Oh my God, my memories suck. I don't remember that. That dude's like a god to us.
Yeah.
He was way better than either of us. All of us.
I know, he was really good.
He was a headliner, bro.
He was a headliner, yeah.
He had a headliner
And then
in
he
our place?
he had that joke that probably Ray Romano stole, or he stole, but we gave him credit for it. And then
What was the joke?
It was a joke about having a computer in your brain and it acting as a cell phone and then blinking to switch to call waiting.
Oh, yeah, I remember he did that at I think it was the Improv once, man. That shit killed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was really solid. And now that stuff's happening. And then weirdly, I thought about it yesterday because Elon Musk is putting computer chips in pigs' brains, and
Good.
so that's going to come true.
Yeah. Is it now? Is he doing it for the good of society? Is he going to make like RoboCops, but they're going to be more like Robo Pig Cop, and then
I
they'll
hope
they'll
so.
actually patrol the streets, and there'll be
Yeah.
a lot more. I don't know what justice, like equal treatment.
I think actually yes, and then so then when you call them pigs, it's not ironic.
It's not a bad thing because
Right.
that's what they are. So now you can take away that PC kind of. You take away the power of the
You're
protesters.
taking away the power. Yeah, it's like what queers are. They were able to do
Yeah.
that.
And you're also playing too. They don't want to hurt the pigs because it's hurting an animal. So you got those PETA guys that are probably also in with the protesters, and so
Yeah.
therefore, yeah, I think that's the best solution. That Elon
I think
Musk
it's the
is
only solution. It is
really
the
thinking
only
ahead.
solution. Yeah, there's nothing else that can be done to fix the situation that we're in.
So now, if he's going to be making these robo pig policemen, now is he going to be strapping some kind of a weapon to them? Do you think there'll be like will they be strapped and somehow if they make a certain move or I don't know what they can do and then they'll shoot pepper spray here, maybe a little gun on their back with a rotating thing.
I
will
think I
shoot.
think machine guns mounted to their back. I think that's the only way we can do it.
Do you think? Well, instead of machine guns, should it just be like AR-15s because that kind of does represent America, and there is kind of like, well, he's got an AR-15, so he must be a cool pig.
Are there going to be bump stocks on it? I don't even know what that is. I just know it's a word.
No, well, on the backs of the pig, I'm saying that they would just
Yeah.
be there, rotating.
I think that your weapon of choice makes perfect sense. I'm happy to go with the one that you choose. I don't know much about.
I'm just trying to once again imagineer what these. I'm basically trying to imagine how would you truly set a very smart pig with the chip in its brain out to police officers in the streets? Like, what do you need that somebody's going to actually listen to this pig and what it's going to say? Because they are so short, so there's got to be some intimidating factor about them to at least get their attention.
That's true.
To stop crime.
I think the mounted gun on the back, the one that you suggest, I think that.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't the solution more guns? So if we got the guns in the hands of the kids, so now
Yeah.
we need to get the guns in the hands of the animals, and then
Right.
then America's well on its way.
All right. I think we'll just let that lie right there. If somebody's listening, some producer in Hollywood, they can write that out and. Don't worry, you don't even have to give us credit. So that's a dumb idea. I'm sorry. Well,
Yeah.
that's cool that Elon Musk is. I hope it just all doesn't turn into. My big fear with this whole COVID, and we want to get a quick
Quick
fucking
shout out
solution or quick, the cure or serum or whatever. I just hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
My big fear is that it turns into the beginning of I Am Legend. It's
I
like
know. I don't think that it'll happen. I feel like it's gonna be on the path of like the Spanish flu, where it's probably 2 years of horribleness, and then everyone's gonna go out and go crazy, and then
Right.
we'll have another giant depression. I think that we're gonna go through that cycle.
Yeah, we are headed towards something. It
Yeah,
does feel
yeah.
more. Does it feel more tense where you're at? I mean, your hair just got gray within the last couple of months, right?
Oh yeah, March it was completely dark, and
Completely
it was-
jet black.
It was the Mrs. Frankenstein phenomenon that happened.
Oh, that's how it started. Trump was able to get away with impeachment, and then you all of a sudden,
Yeah.
he did kicked out of office.
Things are strange here. It was like the day that I like went down to Melrose when all the shops were broken in, some were burnt down, and then
Right.
on Hollywood Boulevard they were preparing for the next march by boarding things up, and it just like I went on a trip to Istanbul and felt safer and felt like
Oh, really?
things were in more control and better taken care of. Like I could walk down the streets in the middle of the night in like some like yeah, it's weird. I was in a situation where I was on a small street. I went to a protest, and there was like a row of cops on three different sides of the street, slowly closing in, shooting rubber bullets at people.
What?
And like people were starting to panic and wanted to run.
Whoa.
And cops were trying to tackle them.
Uh-oh.
And it was really intense. I felt like I was in a movie. Like so much of this has felt not real. But
Right.
yeah, and then like I escaped. Like me and a few other people have like found this parking garage. We're able to run through that and get out. But police were literally in a row, like shoulder to shoulder, slowly, like in lockstep, closing in on this group of protesters
Whoa.
that found themselves on this one street.
Right, they got cut off from the pack.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
and a friend of mine called and like I was
Cornered.
talking to him, I was like, "Do you see what's going on?" And he's like, "Are you wearing a blue shirt? I think I see you on a helicopter camera."
No.
I'm like, yeah, that's me. It was so
How close were you?
to the cops.
I mean,
at
like-
one point,
Like, what did you do? What was your thing? Did you just run for the nearest opening, or you?
no, what I did was I laid back because there were some protesters that were like in the face of cops,
Right.
yelling at them, and then I saw one person try to escape, and a cop like swiped at his hand, missed him,
Right.
fell to the ground.
The cop fell?
Everybody laughed at the cop, and I was like, "Oh, now this is when things totally go
Yeah,
south."
when you're humiliated, boy,
a humiliated
you get mad.
cop with a bunch of people screaming at him. So I just stayed as far back and was kind of nervous, thinking I'm going to get arrested for probably being out past curfew. But then explored and found this parking garage. But it was really just uncomfortable and surreal, and shots were being fired, and I was like, I'm laying back here, am I going to get hit by a stray bullet?
Right, because
Like, what's going to
if
happen?
it hits your eyeball, dude, you lose an eye.
Without a doubt, yeah.
I mean, that's real.
Yeah, even if it's a rubber bullet, it can do
Yeah,
some damage.
it'll smash the glass in your glasses and go into your
Yeah.
eye.
Absolutely, and like I'm sure there's other places where you could get hit and it could kill you as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just.
How'd you get
Yeah.
involved in that? Was you just
I just
going
wanted to go to a
7-Eleven for?
protest. I just wanted to go to a march.
Oh, so you
and
just wanted to
show some
go,
support.
and you get
Yeah.
caught in this weird situation, but you were able to be cool enough to just
Yeah.
hang back and fade away from what the frenzy of emotion that the other people were giving you cover.
Yeah, and then if I'm gonna be completely honest too, as like a writer, I wanted to see stuff and wanted to. It was kind of curious to see if something crazy would happen.
You want to
just
see what reality is and how it plays out, because you have an illusion in your mind of what it is, but if you're there and seeing it, you as a
Yes.
writer can then tell the truth of it and not have to make it up.
Yeah.
Or at least the truth of your truth just being
Of
the first
my-
time there compared to somebody who's been to those 100 times. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and it seemed like we're going through this very historic moment in America, and I wanted to.
Did you say seems?
Seems.
What would seem more historic
Yes, we
than
are-
what
we
we're
are going
would it be
through-
an asteroid hitting us? Is that more historic?
I think that what I mean by saying that is that
Seems.
what I think that what I was saying was that optimistically things are changing. It seems like things are changing, but it's possible that they're not. I'm
Seems.
scared to death that they're not. And so if they don't change, then this is a blip, and it's
What
a very scary
what
blip.
one thing specifically are you afraid that is not going to change that really needs change? One thing. That's it. Just
I mean,
top of
the
your head.
current
Doesn't have to be.
administration, the
All
current
right, boom. So
administration.
the current, basically, see if this metaphor fits. I see Trump as a Pied Piper of sorts, and his mouth and his way he advertised, so how you catch him, either you're reading him on text or you hear it from the news or you're hearing his voice. He's affecting everybody. We'll say the whole world, but United States, we'll just focus on this country, right? I believe that he is Pied Piper, but whereas the Pied Piper was only getting like the mice or the children, just the one thing, I think he gets everybody, but it's in different ways. So in other words, the Pied Piper's not singing like a lyrical tune. It's crazy sounds coming out of there. And to some people, it's music to the ears. And other people's, it's the worst grating thing and it needs to stop. And oh my God, what do we do about it? But yet they're all following this insanity, and he's making the whole world like in crazy, sort of like in the worst Batman ever made, where Mr. Freeze and it was the Riddler and Two-Face were trying to make everybody crazy through the TV sets. That's kind of, in a weird way, I think he's affecting everybody. So no matter what side you're on, there's an insanity happening, and it's
divisive. It's pushing people away, and it's like literally half the people in one direction and the other half in the other direction. And that's what is the thing that's the worst, is that as a country we are literally we're a pair of pants that are being ripped apart, and Trump is the ass that's starting to show. It's like really just being ripped.
Well, that is a good metaphor in another way. I think it's different from my metaphor, but I do like the pants ripping, liberal and conservative ripping in half and then seeing an asshole in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, the big reveal.
Yeah, that's...
He even bleaches his asshole. Well done, Mr. Trump.
And I agree with you that he's this Pied Piper, and he is affecting everybody, and some people in a, I don't want to use the word positive, but some people are reacting to him in a positive way, and some people are reacting to him in a negative way.
You know what this Pied Piper's doing, actually? He's making us humans here become uncivilized.
Yeah.
He is uncivilizing. It wasn't drain the swamp. It was uncivilization.
Yeah.
So he is uncivilizing right now. And so then what happens when things get uncivil? They turn into something that's called civil, which isn't. But I see as a history, because I was teaching history for the decade basically after you left. Cool. I just like the story. I went into teaching because I like storytelling. I've done the Moth a couple times and blah, blah, blah. But we'll just say that what's happening right now is that history, we're verminizing. In other words, they're not worthy to live because they think like that, and they're just worst for our humanity. And same with those people they care not about what my God said to me, and they must be gone to hell because that's their fate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
and so then there's that thinking, and there's that thing, and it's a buildup. And unfortunately, we animals, basically, who've only really had our frontal cortex for like 50,000 years, we animals were so goddamn tribal and so goddamn instinctually, family first, and then, outside group and otherizing and being able to justify and all that shit, all that. Man, all the lies we tell ourselves from actually the Pied Piper, and I think that the music that he plays, it's all the lies and how those lies fall into different ears. And some is this is what I wanted to hear, and yay, thank you. And the other ones is that is totally what? And oh my God, that's destructive. And so now we got this thing, and it's, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to be kind of, all these civil wars and all that shit throughout history, they all start a little bit different, and there's always usually a decades-long build-up before they get there. Bosnia, Herzegovina, they've been building up for over 100 years. The Civil War built up well over 20 years when people started to get woke a bit more.
Yeah.
A real light woke back then, but still as woke as you could be. And shit happened for 20 years. And so it seems like I cannot think of a more like, so you have a pandemic that is a real thing, and you do have a economic crisis caused by this thing, which is a real thing. Mm-hmm. And then you do have this Pied Piper who's raining down this, and he's making everybody like moving real fast. You know, like the molecules are moving fast and it's going to catch fire at some point. And that's what's doing. And little fires are happening in Kenosha, one's happening, and the LA one just happened. And they've been happening. And I don't know how it spreads wide. And the reason I say it's weird, because it's going to just look weird. It's going to be a lot more of that 17-year-old kid style shit.
Yeah,
it's like,
I know.
Why would that? What?
And the fact that he's being defended and he's
Dude,
he's being treated like a hero.
If the devil was making up a scenario and for the earth to crumble into his clutches, like if the devil, like if there was such a thing and it was so brilliant, couldn't get it together, but until his master plan, wouldn't you put a narcissistic, basically pretty higher end on the psychopath scale than the sociopath scale, but still an empathyless being that cared about itself and was able to manipulate through years of practice and anger.
Yeah.
Like anger's its favorite emotion. Like that's the one that it revels the best. It's like a fire beast, like turning into like a superhero. Fire's when I am most alive. It keeps me up.
You'd said it before with the Batman. He is a supervillain who is leading the country. The devil would put someone like that
in charge. Plague puts a basic plague upon the earth, a light plague, so light that it's not so horrible, so light enough that people can deny it outwardly, even
absolutely,
and drive to the hospital and go, why isn't anybody at the hospital here? Its parking lot's empty.
Yeah, it's only affected people in nursing homes. They were going to die anyway.
Yeah, they're thinking the hospital's going to be filled like the mall. Everybody's going to be going there every day. It should be full. Like Macy's.
They're lying to us.
This is
real. And how did his brother die? Do we know that?
I don't care. He died of old age. He was due. He's due.
Yeah. Yeah, I
don't care.
But I think that you're right, that it's a perfect storm of everything that could happen. And
so then the third ingredient is this now clearly revealed racial tension and injustice in the justice system, which also which like dominoes bleeds throughout old institutions that have been around and structured through years and years and years and years, That goes right down to the whole education system. That goes right down to every single department and, little group that gets together. I mean, it's just right down the line.
Yeah.
Shit, it will be in a history. The only way it happens is if something extremely shocking happens. Extremely shocking. There's got to be a shock and go, oh yeah, wait a minute, we're all humans here. Oh yeah, right, we all speak English here. Oh yeah, right, we all eat breakfast, dinner, and lunch. Oh yeah, we all like Chick-fil-A, don't we? Oh yeah, we, whatever we got to do, but we got to. It's getting to the point where people are getting verminized, and you know what I'm talking about when I say that. They're being dehumaned, and so if you can kill somebody that's dehumanized, and if it keeps going that way, and there's two different universes of talk, and I would have to say there is a propaganda machine that is feeding off all the power and money from this, because people just want to hear that daddy's beating the shit out of everybody who dares look back at him in one manner or another. Daddy's spanking them all. He's spanking everybody's getting spanked by Daddy, and I can go to bed at night knowing Daddy's here, and Daddy, he is a benevolent, wondrous spanking machine.
That is what America has
I
done.
want to spank everybody, but if I can't, I'm going to have Daddy spanks. Daddy's spanking Congress, and he's spanking individuals, no matter how powerful or weak. He's spanking companies. He's spanking countries. He's spanking Europeans. He's spanking men. He's spanking women. He's spanking gay people. He's spanking lesbians. He's spanking anybody. Some guy took my job. He spanked him. You know what? So that's what's really going on. Is like and that is to get to that mindset, it's basically through years of at least feeling abused by the propaganda machine.
Yeah.
Like, here's how you know it's propaganda. If you're a radio show host and you are through the 8 years of Obama and you can't say not one god dang thing nice or pleasant about Obama, talking about Rush Limbaugh specifically, then you know then it's not fair, it's not real, it's not right, it's wrong. If they're always doing that one way, you know, and you know it's, then if that's happening, think about that for years and years, and so now there's a bubbling up, and this is coming right now.
Yeah, because I find it interesting that you bring that up, because I have a friend who's a giant Bernie bro, and he thinks that Biden and Obama were way too conservative, like Reagan level conservative, and so the fact that Republicans decide to attack so much, it's just like this, it's just become this team dynamic where it's Republicans against Democrats, where it doesn't even matter what policy is, it's just, I want my team to win, I want your team to lose. So this two-party system hits another, like, a frailty of the human condition, which is ego and competition. And so it doesn't become about logic and compromise and what's good for the country. It becomes about our side winning, because
Right.
or
seeing the other person as irredeemable.
Yeah.
Or you cannot get through to them no matter what you say.
And
so
there
you're
are
done.
Policies that far left people are like, this is way too conservative, and then but the conservatives now are saying that Joe Biden is a socialist, and the Bernie bros are saying that Joe Biden is a Republican. So how does this even work? It's just because he's running under the Democratic name, he is now a socialist.
I'll tell you what. There is a strength in the Republican, I'm just going to go right with the Republican messaging and the way that they can influence minds, and the way that they can be, well, they're more disciplined. They're more willing to say what they need to say in unison and be as a solid front as far as voting and talking, and everybody's online. And the nature of a Democrat is a liberal, is a person who sees all the colors of the rainbow, and everybody has this thing. So there's so much gray, so many other colors involved. There's no black and white.
Yeah.
And so that's why, so you're dealing with one society that sees black and white. So we'll just bring up abortion. You're just killing a baby. You're killing God's creature that God's trying to put in this world. Murder. Done. And then the other side's like, what? Rape. But their dad was, the kid. What if she's too sick and can't? Why can? And then they're like, no. Written. Don't even bring it up. It's a slippery slope. It just has to be done. And then if you then go, well, they'll never understand me, no matter which side's speaking those words. That's just one of the steps it takes to go down into the cellar of death, basically.
And the messaging of Trump's campaign was brilliant. The Make America Great Again is like, what are all political campaigns are, fear or hope. And he was able to come up with this clever slogan that nailed both.
They message better. They're shorter, sweeter, and to the point.
Build back better, which is crap. Like, that is not a good slogan. But Make America Great Again, it's like, I understand that like why people are like, I want America.
Right.
This place is the best country in the world. Let's get it where.
They're keeping it simple. It has an emotion to it. It has the word great. And then again, and it's like, yes, it has a point to it. It's real sharp and succinct. But isn't it funny that those are the things that work? And on the other side, that's so complex that we want to tell the truth in our statement. Well, we need these extra words, even though they don't fit in there. They should be mentioned because we have this emotion also that's dealing with. So we want to make some people feel happy about this. We want some people to feel ready to go vote because of this. And we want all the joy of the world and the gathering of the children into the fields, and then the sweet songs that we'll sing as we hold hands. And if you have one side that's just going no and that and and I mean, that's what they. If you go down to the tribalness of our nature, the conservatives are the ones who are in the caveman society. They were standing guard. They were making sure that no other humanoid came over from another cave and tried to get in here. They were watching the place. They went out and they hunted and they faced down a big saber-toothed tiger and they murdered it and everybody was happy. And those are the guys. That's the conservative. Don't change. I know what I'm doing. I've got it down. Let's be safe. Let's be cool. You got the other side.
That's when America was great. Let's go back to that because that's what we need. That's what humans are. That's our primal instinct.
Right. Yeah. But the other thing is 50% also of the tribe was a welcoming. They needed a welcoming thing. Specifically, the woman's side of thinking they need to welcome a baby into the group. This is a new person sneaking into our tribe here. You sure? You know, in other words, the conservative, they weren't just going to attack the baby because, no, not another one. We only have so much food in this cave, and murdering all the babies and then dying off because nobody's having more babies. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So there's this other part of the tribe and other thinking that is like welcoming, gather around, working together, everybody, you good sleeping over here, you good sleeping over here. So there's this kind of this community kind of thing. So you have these two different things. You have a more of like, we're dealing with, all these emotions and we got to, and the other side was just life or death, run or fight, this or that. And the other side was like, well, let's bring some people. Maybe we get the other cave and we can talk about how fire techniques.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but I get emails every day from conservative people trying to recruit me. Like
how?
Just videos, emails.
Why would they recruit you?
I don't know.
What makes Scott Perlman so awesome in in conservatives' eyes? What is it? Is it that gray hair? God damn that gray hair!
I don't know. Yeah, it's very possible. It happens a lot where I'll get these messages, and one thing that I've noticed, I'm getting from conservatives is videos of black people smoking cigarettes saying they say Black Lives Matter. Well, we're killing all of each other on the streets, so it's hypocritical to say Black Lives Matter because we don't care about our own lives. Why is anyone going to care about our lives? And so then you have conservatives, people saying, see, this guy gets it. And these conservative people would never listen to this guy's opinion for anything else other than diminishing the Black Lives Matter movement.
You cannot have a civilization running off of like knee-jerk emotional momentarianism, how Donald Trump is he's all about each moment. Like if he's just each next sentence is the next moment that I have to win.
Yeah.
You cannot be a sensationalized, geared up society, much like my daughter being on the internet was where all this started. Getting that information in all the time and not affecting your psyche and making the insanity. So if, in other words, even if a person like my daughter doesn't listen to anything about Trump, it is still affecting all the people that create things that she sees in movies and TVs and all those things. It's affecting their brains. Anything new that they do, it might flow into their writing or the way the people are acting or doing things. And so, especially with TikTok and how people, how you can get a mindset going in that whole direction within days. It'd be like, I must think like this now because this is the new oppressed. And so,
you were talking about this knee-jerk reaction to things, and both in how Trump speaks to his constituency, his base, and the country in general, but also it was like an impulse thing with the looting and the riots. Like it was this extreme frustration and anger, and I look at it like, what's the difference between this and the Boston Tea Party, which the Boston Tea Party was celebrated as one of the greatest events in American history, and all that was looting and rioting and destroying property to make a point, and
Right.
so now we're in this situation where this visceral reaction to something horrible
Right.
is coming out, and it's being used now as a this is why
Yep.
we
Yep.
and it's not.
If you want a lesson on what you're exactly talking about, V for Vendetta. It's
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
the symbolism, what it means to one person versus means to another person. Just right, like I said, the Pied Piper himself. To one side, it's the wonderful, and to the other side, it's the evil incarnate.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
that's
Like
happening with
that
every.
separate. It's that separate. Like literally, one side sees as God touched, and the other side sees as psycho punched. You know what I mean?
And-
He's
yeah.
that far apart.
Yeah,
And
nuance doesn't exist. And like what you were saying before about the Democrats trying to bring nuance into their policy,
Yeah.
it doesn't really
No.
jive.
No, because that's what makes me sad about our human little, like our thing. We're so reactionary, emotional. It's all emotion, man, and fear is the big one. And if you can throw fear, he throws fear out in both ways. He makes the people that he says things want to, be afraid of things, be afraid of this thing that I'm lying about. And they go, yeah, I'm afraid of that thing. And they believe that. And there's another side that says, oh my God, he's lying and lies are evil and no.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yikes. And so it's so far, I think at this point, like one side, like we'll say the liberal side cannot believe that they really think the things that they think. And I believe that is the exact same thing that's going on the other side. I cannot believe that the liberals think the way they think, don't they realize? And it's just getting, once again, down to a level where people are willing to kill somebody. And if I was, once again, the devil, you would have the economy and the one malaise that will go over all this scenario that's going on with the economy and this pandemic and this racial unrest in the United States, injustice and all that. The overlay for the entire planet, just for fun, if I was the devil, would be the climate change shit that's real. Climate change that's really fucking happening. The really subconscious thinking, foreconscious when you see 2 hurricanes coming up the coast. Oh, look, they're coming in pairs now. Can't wait till they get to 3s and 4s. That'll be when how many hurricanes coming up the Gulf of Mexico will finally somebody like Trump admit maybe there's such a thing as global warming?
I know.
It'll be like 10 hurricanes at once, all hitting each other into one big one, and then just going straight through the middle of the country.
Yeah, Death Valley in California had the hottest day in recorded history this summer.
It's those things that are all going around, and you would set in scenes if the devil, once again, writing, and I would write in a scene with a 17-year-old kid, basically. 17-year-old brains are, I mean, we were living together, thank goodness, and we were in our 20s.
Right.
Think if we were 17-year-olds, dude, we would have came to fisticuffs. We would have fought. We would have wrestled. Something would have happened weird.
Yes.
I would have maliciously tripped you, or you'd have maliciously sort of knocked me in the face with the door. Whatever would have happened, something would have gone down if we were both 17-year-olds. Because once again, ADD, I'm all over the place, and you don't have ADD, so there's a calmness, and so there's a, I don't know, my craziness gets pretty crazy. Because I take full blame in the way that I was too. I was a bitch. I did not communicate well myself. In those days.
Overall though, I have good memories of the situation.
3 years, dude. We did 3 years.
Yeah,
That's an accomplishment, and we only had
especially at our age.
One big dishwasher thing. That's a pretty good accomplishment. We never fought. We never came to fists.
Yeah.
Right? We came to anger. We came to kind of not talking to each other for a while. We were both doing our own thing. We were busy as hell, both of us. And, you know. But it was like a relationship, and it was destined to end, and it ended the way that it should have. But getting back to the dishes, the way the dishes ended was, I know that we had the talk, and then I relented, and then I did all the dishes with a, like a little bite in my lip. God dang it! But I'm doing the dishes.
I probably felt guilty about that.
And then with the understanding, so if we were perfect and we go back in time, the way I would have out the gate coming into with you is that we would have both sat down somewhere, got drunk, and then made like rules and discussed scenarios, and then created a little bit of like a monthly, let's talk about this rent and situation and just make really clear where we're at, what the next month, just a real quick malaise, everything that was cool, dishes too much, no, yes, we fix, tweak, another rule, no, yes. And if we would have communicated like that and literally been polite, just saying please, thank you, and hi every day, just to do, because we were living together and comfort and safety and whatnot, because that was what we gave each other. I hope I gave that to you. I don't know.
I love that time. That was an amazing time in my life. I mean, it was fantastic, and I have no bad memories of it. I just the only things I regret are certain things, that how I acted in certain situations, because I things came fast for me, and I got a big head, and like I was.
You did have a pride to you that was I could see as kind of a jealous thing that I would look at back then, because I've always had this sort of subconscious, like, you're not good enough kind of vibe going in, don't talk to people, you're too shy. But now I don't know what was going on in your head, because you're pretty private in a way, but yeah, you had this kind of coolness, I guess. Almost in my mind, it was like an undeserved cool, like you're way cooler than you should be right now about these things, or what was said, or whatever.
I think I felt entitled, and I think that helped me in some ways and hurt me in some ways. And I think that's what it was. I think that as far as doing stand-up, like, confidence or faux confidence is important. I wasn't a confident person, but I in some aspects I was entitled. I think that those are two different things.
Okay.
But I thought that I was.
Well, they sort of manifest physically in sort of this an undeserved Fonzie cool.
Oh, you don't think it was deserved?
Well, I mean, you played it off. In your world, it was deserved. But to me, it was like, why do you deserve this? I know what really is going on, and you should be a lot more scared.
What was really going on?
Or
what was really going
whatever
on
it would be, like if we didn't get paid enough for a gig, or if something fell out, or if something changed, you were very, okay, cool. Whereas I'd be like, oh, man, what do we do? What do you do?
Oh, okay. I see.
So you had this different, like, and I could sense that on you. It's like, oof, why aren't you freaking out like me? Or whatever, whatever it was.
Yeah, I would never freak out really, but there were times when I would get depressed. Like, there were times when, but there was this period of time in Chicago where I was like, I kind of regret leaving to LA as soon as I did, because I was like, things were going well there, but not well enough to be like, okay, I'm ready to move to LA. But I feel like if I was in Chicago for a few more years and developed more, things could have been, it would have been a smarter move for my career. But I
get you.
Like, I was, like crazy things. Like, I was getting free classes at Second City in the Annoyance Theater, and I was working, doing stand-up basically all the time, and it happened really fast, and a lot of people didn't like me because of that, but also because of how I acted because of that.
You have a work ethic. You had a specific work ethic that was enviable, but also be jealous of too.
But also I was a snob at times, and I think that that I could have handled things better, been more grateful, and I
guess in order for you to get what you got and do what you did, you had to be a snob. I mean, that was just what came with the territory. So you were just destined because you were driven. You had a drive, and that's just part of your emotional defense or thing that you put up to get to that next level, because it was happening. You could look at your resume and see, oh, look, bigger, better, longer, faster, stronger.
Yeah,
You know?
but I loved it. Like I never really even thought anything other than, like, when I was in high school, I did gymnastics and I loved it, and I never really thought about results as much as just loving the process of it. And that's what happened to me with stand-up. I like found a new replacement love, and so that's all I ever wanted to do. And so I just like never really thought of what and how it was happening, except that it, like, I felt like it needed to happen. And when, but this is when, whereas crappy and a failure on my behalf was, people say you should never compare yourself to other people. And there were times when I would do that, and I didn't. And I think that this is part of, like, where how someone can get depressed, is I never took stock in those good things, and never took stock in, like, how freaking lucky am I? I'm one of like 5 comics that gets to house MC at Zany's, and I'm 20 something.
Right.
And but I'm not thinking how lucky am I. I'm thinking
next
what's
level.
Next.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of that beast, isn't it? That's the only way that you move really through that space.
Yeah, I ended
with
up
aggression.
stopping doing stand-up, and I wonder what would have happened if I did it. But I felt like it might have been almost it was not I don't know exactly. I have theories, but there was a certain point when it was shortly after moving to LA. What happened was I was like, this is way harder and not worth it. This isn't doing stand-up.
Right.
There isn't the joy of doing stand-up in LA that there was in Chicago.
Is it more of like auditioning and jockeying kind of feel?
It's more jockeying. It was camping out for a spot. It was
like super. You got those super Jordan types, that will do anything and everything.
Yeah,
and be first.
And like, I remember doing a showcase at the Laugh Factory, and Jamie Masada was like, you don't have a character. Like, you should go up on stage in a police uniform.
Oh,
and I was like,
boy.
If that's what this is, then maybe that isn't what I am.
Yeah.
And I
would you say any part of that was true? Did you feel that you were, when you were going up on stage, when you were in the zone, did you feel comfortable in your skin and kind of know your character up there? Were you comfortable expressing that, or were you still like, maybe I could do this, maybe it's that?
I never knew my character. I never knew.
That's what it is.
I still don't know what that was, and it's interesting.
Me too, by the way. I'm not exact. I was never comfortable with myself. Same thing. I quit because I was never really comfortable. Even if I kind of knew my character, that character shouldn't be on stage because he's too nervous.
and like in writing, I've like learned what character is. Back then, I didn't even know what character was.
Oh, right. So you're just driven.
I just thought it was a series of funny jokes. That's all what I thought.
Oh, right. Was. Yeah.
So,
right. So you had this kind of a blind spot in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, so wow. So what happened when you find out about character? Do you try and change, or you just quit?
I was done by that. I was into writing and writing screenplays and things, where then I was like, oh, this is what character is. like, oh, if I had done stand-up, I could have employed this stuff.
Yeah.
And it would have been so much easier.
Well, at least you found out once you were started writing. I mean, it'd be terrible if you were done writing and then you found out what character means.
That's totally true. And it's been fun because I've been improving and learning more and more about writing. And I was like, oh, if I ever thought to revisit stand-up, it would be from a totally different place. And I feel like it would be a really interesting thing to do, but I still don't know what kind of character I would want to present as a stand-up.
You know what I was both proud and jealous of you was that you had the wherewithal and tenacity enough to write a Seinfeld script, maybe not even just one, but a couple.
Yeah, I wrote a Seinfeld
right?
script.
So you had one going, and that was, no matter what, just the process of getting that done to a person like me is like, wow, that is a real accomplishment. You're like writing a book, basically, in my mind.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
to go through that, and so it was. It was a cool thing. I was very proud that you did that.
You've never written a
Subconsciously.
screenplay?
No.
Have you had ideas for them?
I even have problems, say, with this show right here. So what I
Yeah.
do is I don't even want to go back and edit them because I get down these rabbit holes, and I find that the older that I'm getting. So here I'll give you what the example is. I'm sorry, I'm so all over the place because I got
Yeah, no, it's
7
okay.
different signals trying to go out my mouth. What happens? Example. Say I write there's a comedy bit and I write it out and I do the setup and then I go, oh, I can make the punchline this, and then, oh wait, this punchline. So then all of a sudden I've got like 4 different punchlines, and then I look at the setup and then I tweak those, and so now I could use 7 to 9 different setups, and then I have another 12 or 13 punchlines, and so I get caught in this stupid vortex of just focus on one thing and just do it. So
Yeah.
I'm so critical of myself. I just literally, when we're done with this, I'll be done, and then I might do something a little bit up front. But other than that, I don't really edit these things because I get caught in that rabbit hole. And the same thing with writing. I would be writing one sentence, and then maybe I could change the idea. No, the character maybe would do this, and maybe the background could be that. No, if his mom was blind, though. And wait a minute. And so then I get into this insanity.
Yeah, that happens. Did you ever see the movie Wonder Boys?
I don't think so.
There's this
But maybe.
line in it that it's about a professor who's writing a book, and he ends up writing this like 2,000-page book, and the student says, "Hey, remember when you told me the most important thing about writing was making choices?" And he said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, your book, it's like you didn't make any choices at all." And that is the most important thing. And so much of, I'm working on a project right now, and it becomes more editing than writing at a certain stage, and you have to find joy in every aspect of it, or it'll drive you bonkers. But I think it's something I think that you would be great at. I mean, you were always a great writer with stand-up, so I think that it's something that
it would definitely take me to
chose
get
to do.
retrained. I would think I would need a literal coach and a class and somebody that was on me every day just to at least get me off the rocket pad or launcher. But
yeah, so you'd have the talent for it. So the discipline part is way easier to come up with than the talent part.
Well, my only solution right now is doing this thing. So for me, this thing is in my mind creative, kind of the way that stand-up is sometimes when you do a decent set and you get off stage, you sort of feel tingly in your head. This is that same kind of thing. There's new different thoughts. There's places I haven't thought before, new angles that I might be looking at it, something that I didn't think of. And so with you, that we had that big connection, it fires me off like that. And so I'm very happy to try and see if I can make this medium or this thing somehow parlay this into making
You're
the
good at
living.
it. You've got a great voice. You're always been really quick, and so you can riff on things, and you ask good questions, and you drive it well. I think that it'd be good.
All right. Well, since we're coming up on time, I want to be strict on time. That's one of my. I was doing podcasts before, and I was doing like 3-4 hours with people, and I was like, I got to cut that shit in half at least.
Understand.
So I'm trying to keep 90 minutes to these things.
Okay.
But with
All right.
always the option of that we can come back later and talk about other things. Like we talked about some stuff like that whole Trump thing. Did not think that was even going to be ever talked about here. We talked about certain things that happened in the house, and then I even forgot about it and was happy to remember those cool things about the house. We did have a good time. We were peaking in some form in our youth and our lives.
Completely.
And so
It was
we were hunkered down and we were in the
fantastic time.
same boat, sort of. You just were on a different level and I was on another level.
Yeah, I was grateful for you, and you had Ectomorph, which was amazing. And you guys like talk. I remember you and Bart got me that job on Man Cow, which is the dirtiest thing I'd ever done in my life. But it was neat to actually call in and be something. That's actually the first time I was a character and acted. in anything
Oh,
was
wow.
this Colin thing on Mancow, but it was the worst thing I've ever done in my life, and I feel so filthy for
So
it.
thank you. I'm glad I'm responsible for the worst thing
Yeah.
you've ever
Do you
done in your
remember?
life.
Well, like it was just gross. Do you remember what it was?
He had so many stupid things, were eating poop and all that stuff. What was your gross thing on Mankind?
I was a
I'll remember it.
janitor at a grade school who is also a child molester.
You know what? I think I remember that, but it was so not cool or funny. I think I've purposely forgot about that.
I completely understand. There was
Very
nothing
bad.
funny about it. It
It's
was all just so he could yell at me and tell me I was a disgusting, horrible human being so he could be morally outraged. But who wouldn't be morally outraged if you're a janitor calling in and saying,
I'm sorry, bro.
I work at the school because I like to be around the kids. I mean, it was ridiculous, but that was the kind of stuff that Mancow did. Which
You know, I was happy and proud for a minute that I got you a happy moment, but on another level, I'm kind of saddened that I pushed you into pretending you were a pedophile.
Yeah, it was really gross.
Took you to hell.
But yeah, that was something.
It's gonna be
I
the
did.
greatest times and the worst time all at once.
But it was like it was an experience.
Yeah, that time Darren made me a pro pedophile, I felt most alive. It was my shining moment.
And then throw in the fact that I'm a method actor, it
Right.
really threw everything off.
Oh my God, dude! And yeah, Mancow back then he was popular, dude. I'm telling you, there's hundreds of thousands of people, probably more than 1 million people listening.
Completely.
And they heard that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, but also
No,
yeah,
it's
it's
okay.
Mancow.
No. It was a thing, and it was. It made me
man.
feel like this is what show business starts to be.
All right, let's end on some name drops since you bring up Mancow. So
Okay.
he invites all of Ectomorph over to his house, right? He sees us at the Improv one day. I guess what happened was this guy named Freak. He would go to the Improv, and he worked on the Mancow show, and then he told Mancow came down to see us one Saturday night, see Ectomorph, and then he was like, yes. So Mancow's his thing is to hire talent, but do your thing for free for me so I can fill more airtime and so I can be a thing or whatever. And so very reluctant to pay, but he's got all the Ectomorph and he wants us to write a bit. And so what he does is he invites us to his apartment on the 30-something floor, this big place, you know, because he's probably a millionaire. This guy's made a lot of money. So we go into his very swank building and then his big apartment, and what he's got in there, what his nerd factor about him is he buys like the Swamp Thing creature from the movie. He has a replica, of like an Elvis coat from this, and he has like the head of one of the aliens there, and he's got the lightsaber that was used in the background of that movie, and so he's got all this memorabilia. But I got the feeling that it mostly was there just to impress whoever came there. So he was trying to be the most cool. Look how cool that statue is right there of the Swamp Thing, you know, and whatever. That's the real movie one, by the way. So he was bragging to us. So he brings us in and he starts bragging. He's bragging like a museum, like this is awesome, that's awesome. Like, you know what I do that? Blow a guy to get that one. Blah blah blah. He didn't say that, but you know, basically he's giving us the story on all these things. And then he comes over to this punch bowl filled with these magazines, postcard things where if you write your address on it, you send it to the magazine, you get the prescription. But all these things in the bowl are Hustler, Penthouse, all, you know, Jugs and In-Law, nudie magazines. And he says anybody he hates, he gets their address, fills out one of those, and has them send, you know, porn magazines in the mail. That's his. I don't know.
Like
He's trying to impress Ectomorph. It takes a lot to
Yeah.
impress Ectomorph, and
Yeah,
so you
I
better
could
come
see
up with
that.
a bowl full of pornography
Yeah.
to fuck with people you hate in life. So, anyways, he tells us that story, and so then we wrote a bit for him. We wrote the bit basically. Once again, it's where he goes, so that he comes up with the premise and the idea. And his premise is that he wants a fan that loves Mancow so much he's willing to kidnap and murder a lady. Well, you thought your
Yeah.
pedophilia one. I figured since you went there,
Yeah,
I
no,
can't
no,
top
no.
pedophilia.
It wasn't-
But
it
here it
wasn't-
goes.
It wasn't.
So,
It was just like, yeah, this guy is. There's
so
something with this guy.
that's
It's
the
crazy.
premise. So you go asks ectomorph. That's the three guys who are doing up on stage pretending we're blind and saying sha 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 sha. He wants those guys to not do any of that stuff, but of course write a complex scenario where it's called in. And so, so he sells us. We at first. So I guess you're excited to be there in the moment, and there's this creative
Yeah.
moment with Mancow, who's on everywhere, and he is popular, and his billboard, and Mancow, and Q101.
That's how I felt.
Well, anyways, this was even before Q101. I don't know, but anyways, so we come up with an idea. We bounce it back at him. We come up with finally idea where a guy's going to call. We got a female actress. It was Deborah Downing, by the way, who was Bart's roommate.
Great.
So he agreed to pay us. So he's going to pay us $200 a piece for this bit. So $600 bit. And so what we did was we told him here's what the plan is, and then we would come and see him for like about a week as we were finalizing what we got. And so what we did was we were gonna literally be driving with one of those old brick, call-in cell phones back in the day, a giant brick. And we were gonna have him call in early in the morning. That was gonna be Bart. He's putting on a voice. I'll be the driver. Deborah Downing's gonna be in the back seat. So Bart calls for. So, it was supposed to be all three of us, ectomorph. But you know what Jim did? He slept in that night. So he slept in. He just slept in. He wouldn't answer his phone. I was going to go pick him up, but nothing. So me and Bart were the only ones who do it with Deborah Downing. So Bart calls in. I love you, man. I would do anything for you. I want to see you. Come on. I want to get your autograph, please. Let me do a picture with you. I'm going to kill somebody if you don't let me do this. I will kill her. I will pull her out the street. And then he hangs up, and then Mancow's like, "What was that? Was that fake? Was this weird? Why would he say? Well, that ain't gonna happen. He wouldn't. That's crazy. He would never get a lady." And then all of a sudden you hear the next phone call an hour later. Shut up! All right, I told you I was going to do that. I would do that. So Mancow's like, well, wait a minute. Let me talk to her. So we give the phone to Deborah Downing in the backseat, and she's acting, her high voice. She's like, oh my God, I've got kids, and they picked me up. I just dropped them off for school, and oh my God, who is he? He's so hairy and dirty. Please save me if you can. Oh my God. Get over it. Maybe. And then Mancow's like, you won't kill her. You won't do that. You're not going to do that. And then one final call, of course. Bart has to, as far as I remember, he has to come in with I killed her, man. She's dead. She did. And then hangs up. And that's the bit for the day, right? That lasted the morning, middle, and the end of the show. Dead person. Where's the dead person? Oh no, did he really do it? Was that all fake? And so he was playing that whole game. And then we had a hard time getting paid. And of course, Jim wanted his third, and we would not give it to him. He did. He wanted his third. He felt indignant. I was like, dude, we woke up. We got all this. Deborah did it. We gave your half to Deborah.
Yeah.
She got your piece. And so he was mad, but he knew he was wrong. So it was, one of those moments.
I think Deborah deserved that.
Yeah. So, anyways, I got a real, and you just get creeped out. And then he wants Ectomorph to come back. So we did, and we did one of our Ectomorph bits.
Yeah.
And here's just another side wacky funny with Jim. He'll never listen to this. But anyways, we go to see Mancow, and Jim sneezes during a segment that we're talking with Mancow with. And he sneezes as Mancow's talking. And he doesn't do a very good job of holding it. And so one of the pet peeves of Mancow is if anybody sneezes or coughs in the background, he will berate them. So while we're in studio...
On air or during the break?
On air. Berate. So then now we're there, and Mancow is now visibly red, mad, and yelling, dressing down Jim Copsian like he's in fucking Full Metal Jacket on the radio. And Jim's like, what? I just did I even sneeze? He was had that face on. And then we're looking, and it was getting so brutal word wise. It was weird because it was like, is this real? Is this fake? He's getting kind of weird personal with Jim. Now he's making Jim actually feel weird and mad. And you don't want to see Jim get mad, man. Jim will stomp out and yell at you. But so it was going to that weird place, and that once that happened, I was like, I do not want to nothing with that guy ever again. So he had called and texted and came see and tried to talk to me, but I've always avoided him. Run away.
Yeah. It's a good instinct.
Yeah, he was just a bad person.
Yeah.
See what he did to both of us? I'm sorry that I had to...
Scarred for life.
Yeah. I'm sure it was in that period that's when I got you the gig to be a pedophile.
It's totally, that's totally right.
Yeah, whatever Mancow's on, he's on he ran a show like a radio World Wrestling Federation.
I think I got $100 for it, but I don't.
That's
remember.
cool, as long as you got paid, because he was really stingy on his money paying.
Yeah.
He tried to get a lot of free stuff, and he left a lot of comics and improvers in his wake that hate him to this day. All right, so I'm sorry I ended on that long thing, but we went there. It was Mancow. We're dropping Mancow
it was
stories,
good.
right?
I liked it. I liked the story. It was, and I liked your impressions of both Bart and Deborah. It was
Thanks.
Nice. I felt there. I felt like you could have done the whole thing on your own.
Thanks,
you could have
man.
gotten the 600 yourself.
Here's the deal. Would it be all right if in the future, maybe a month, 2-3 months down the line, actually did a part 2 of this? Because I would actually like to talk about the things that you're doing in life and all the progress that you're making and the creativity.
I'd love to. Yeah.
Because I wanted to give that some real focus, and I knew that this was going to be mostly a reminiscing kind of thing, just to get our... our foundations back and know that we are two totally different people, but we did go through a 3-year period. That's pretty much a big accomplishment, dude.
Yeah.
3 years is a pretty, that's a long relationship with a girl, isn't it? If you did with 3 years.
Absolutely.
That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
So we
Not
did
sure
good.
I love that metaphor, but okay.
Well, I'm just saying, two humans together, right?
I'm just joking.
No,
Yes,
I know.
absolutely. No, we did good. Yeah, again, it was a great time in my life. We enjoyed it. We had some movie nights. We hung out.
Yes.
But I think that, like you said, you were doing your thing. I was doing my thing. Also, stand-up involved travel, so we were away at times. But, I think that...
But we could
I
trust each other. We didn't steal each other's shit. I don't remember
nothing
one
bad
time where I snuck into your room to steal anything.
Yeah, nothing terrible happened, and I don't think that we had anything of value enough.
We didn't, but still, that would be weird.
Yes.
There was no weird roommate shit like I would do, purposely leave a fish underneath your mattress.
Yeah, nothing
or anything.
Like
there was no malicious hubbub.
Yeah. And I do like the passive protest with the dishes that we both had. And I apologize for not being. You were the bigger person. You did it. I was the smaller person, and so I feel guilty about that. I think we should have done it together, or I should have done it, or however, whatever I feel.
Look,
bad
man,
about it.
I'm just as culpable. Like I said, if I was good enough. I had a good enough mind on me to think that we could have made up rules. We could have had, we could have communicated better, like had a plan.
We never, and that's a good thing for any relationship, is set up boundaries and rules and
absolutely
like boundaries more so than rules. Like what did we expect from each other, and when. And if ever something came up that it was like, oh, this is bothering me, it's not so...
That we could take constructive criticism, take it in the way that it's meant and not the emotional way, like you're getting one over on me, I'm better than you, why do you get that, here's this and there's that.
Yeah.
Some manufactured competition where the real thing was we were just trying to survive in those moments and be as comfortable and as happy as we could be in those moments.
Yeah, and try and accomplish something in a near impossible thing. And it was we were in a weird world, and we were surrounded by a bunch of weird people.
Yes.
And so
it was slightly dangerous over there. Shit happened. Stuff happened in that neighborhood.
Yeah, but I would love to do this again and catch up more, because I'd like to hear more about what you're doing too. So that'd be great.
Yeah, that's good, man. It's good. You know what? I'll just say on a closing note, dude, you look spectacular. You were like the spitting image of Scott Perlman that I used to know as my roommate.
Yeah, I'm essentially me.
You are, look at you.
I'm trying to,
and it looks like your hair's blonde. It looks like a nice blonde or something.
Oh,
that's
it's gray, but maybe it's just the lighting.
But on my,
I got some gold lighting, but
right here, it looks beautiful, man. I'd run with that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
good to have.
it's been like, yeah, we'll get into it. It was a really interesting 5 years. It's been
It was a struggle that we were hungry, we were competitive, there were limited jobs here and there. There was an
Yeah.
emotional business. We had
Yeah.
responsibility that we didn't necessarily want to, bore down on every second. Had a lot
Yeah.
of things going on. But the fact that we did 3 years, and the also fact that we felt safe to be, have our stuff there and sleep and not be all worried that the other person was
Yeah.
going to go nuts and murder me in the night or do
Yes.
some weird shit.
Yeah.
Some passive aggressive, key my car or some shit.
Yeah, if that's the worst thing that happened in 3 years was a
Dishes,
dish strike.
which came to a conclusion, which it needed to, much like any
Yeah.
script would in any television series.
Yes.
So it ran its natural course, and we were able to survive 3 years, which is pretty goddamn good for
It is pretty good.
a couple of humans to live together,
Yeah,
who are as
yeah.
different but the same as we are.
Exactly. and yeah. I'm thankful that you wanted to live with me back then. You were the more senior, established person. I was, it was great. And you brought me into like that world
Right.
to some extent as well, which was nice to be welcomed into that. And so I appreciated everything, and I never felt like the car thing. I don't have
No, this is just
bad memories of
momentary
that.
little weird thing.
Yeah,
I know
no,
that
that's
was all
not-
me in my
yeah.
head because I
Yeah,
just
think
remember
that
your car
that
so
might
much.
have been more, yeah, because I probably at the time was like, great, I'm getting a gig, and that's
Yeah.
all it is me driving, because
Yeah.
we drive everywhere anyway.
Yeah.
So
No, I think I drove. I think I was the one who not only got
Yeah.
it, but I think you let me drive
yeah, I
it.
remember you liking the car. And,
Yeah. I
do you
love
remember-
sports cars. And then when you got a
Yeah.
Saturn, you crushed me. It was like when Mad Max's car gets blown up in the middle of the movie. I'm like, like, would you sold it for that? What?
Yeah.
It gets better gas mileage. But wait a minute, the other one was red. I don't know.
the other one was red. Yeah, that's true.
Oh man, yeah. So for me, I'm me, spendy. I had to get a great car as soon as I
Yeah.
could. You have one, well, but you had that thrifty mind. That's where the difference was. I would have never got a Saturn. You would have seen me ride that red car into the ground. I'd be running down the street like Fred Flintstone with the rust in the bottom, just paddling. But look at this car. It's an almost Acura. Yeah, it was good. So what makes me happy is that we came on that we did 3 years, and I never felt scared or frightened to be there, other than what the basement dude was doing with his shirt off all the time, and then shooting a gun out the window.
It was a weird place.
It was a little gangy over there, but we
was a little
were
gangy.
kind of just we would.
I always say that we lived in Roscoe Village, but we were well west of Roscoe Village.
We were on Western and Belmont, basically.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
now. Police station was close, though. If we got.
Yeah, and then they
Yeah,
built
hurt.
that big movie theater like right when we left.
Oh, yeah, that's
North
right.
and Western. Like that whole area got gentrified, but it was right after we left.
Yeah, and that bridge that was there next to our house, gone.
Yeah.
It's straight road now. They've took it all out. It was
Oh,
a
wow.
bad thing. It was a bad structural idea. Shouldn't have been a bridge there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they fixed the whole thing.
Okay. Well, when we do this the next time, I have a story.
All right, you know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'll do. I'm going to take note. I'm going to take a picture of our old house and that street.
Okay, cool. Because I have a
then we
good
could show
story
it, and
from
we
that
could.
place.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
All right, I will take a live picture. I'll try and get a good one. I got this good camera here, so I need excuses to use it.
That
in
building
this.
still exists? It's still there?
I think our house is still there, and then I'll show
Oh,
you
wow.
exactly the bridge that is not there anymore.
I wonder what rent would be there now. Do you remember what we paid for the 3-bedroom?
Was it 900?
$650.
Shit, dude, we got a deal.
Uh-huh.
If that comes up again, let's go back there and move
I
in.
know. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
If I find
I
it's at
think that-
650, I'm gonna call you. You gotta fly out, and we're gonna start over again.
I think it could just be a crash pad. That would be fantastic. Because I'm
so-
pretty sure what we did for a while was because we would split it, but then when someone lived in the den, it would be
Oh right, we get a little extra
it would
money.
be 225, 225, and 200. I think is what we were doing.
That was
Which
nice.
paying that for rent.
Dude.
I mean, that's how you're able to be a full-time stand-up
That's
comic.
right. That's why Kevin Rogers was there.
Yes.
We just needed some of his good money. He got kicked out of his girlfriend's house, and we just need some of his sweet cash.
I think that's what happened.
Oh man! All right, so I went over time, but thanks, man.
I would love
right?
to do this again.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Great.
It's
It's
good
great to
seeing you. I'm
see
glad
you.
you're looking healthy. You look, you got both your arms and your eyes are working. And look at that. You got a full head of hair. Wow, that's you. And this is, you're prepared for this moment. This is good news. I'm glad I talked with you. You made me feel better just because you're better.
Yes, this is awesome. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to do it again.
All right, man. Thanks, Scott. All right, I'll just end it right here. You can just turn it off, and then I'll just play some music out, and then I'll put this up about a week. I will contact you.
All right, sounds good.
I'll edit this part out, but I'll contact you, and I will. So what you could do is email me if there's any kind of like links or things specifically that you want said about you, and I'll put it in the description of the YouTube page. And what I'm just going to do is use a picture that I got off of your Facebook account, and then I'll send you a link to the website, and you can look at some of the other shows if you want. I think
All right, cool.
I got Steve Seagren coming up. I just did him yesterday.
Oh, great.
I got somebody else you remember Chick Hockey? You remember Chick Hockey, right? I got Billy from Chick Hockey.
Okay. Yeah.
I got.
I know you did Dwayne.
I do have him on regular podcast, but I don't have it on this. This is the new show, so I'm only. You're show number 7.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this is all new. That's why it's so raw.
Craps.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Craps. All right. So, anyways, I'll edit that up, but I'm saying bye.
All right.
Thanks,
bye.
man.
It's great to see you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
I'll text you soon. Bye.
Okay.
All right, and that was Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness. Now, the wisdom that I was getting was the wisdom of like communicating with your roommates and telling them, hey man, we need to communicate because the dishes are piling up. And not being afraid and not being passive aggressive and just keep putting more dishes in there, and then it getting to like a weird moment like we're gonna fight over the next dish, that if there's anything that gets put there, because there's no room on the counter anymore. All the dishes are dirty, like really dirty, not even soaking or anything, like. And if you start off with rules, and if you start off with understanding, and you start off with a way to be constructively criticized, and the other person being able to take that without turning it into an emotional attack, well, god dang, then you can have a roommate for longer than 3 years. But it takes communication, and that's the wisdom. You got to communicate. And if you're married right now and you ain't been talking so much during these times, wait a second. You need to be talking more. And that's what I'm doing here on this show. I just talked with Scott Perlman. My name is Darren Bodacker, and this has been Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness.